Thank you, gentlemen. And yes, it always gets dark with Thorin. He always goes somewhere unexpected. The Saving Private Ryan thing next to Yanko. That's just a recipe for disaster. Either way, CLG going to be taking on 5POWER, the Chinese team that actually, I mean, just another Asian team, which yesterday against Na'Vi, an okay game. Couldn't pull it out in the end. Obviously, it was 69 or so, but I mean, just more of the same. Saw some good things, not able to kind of pull that match in their favor. CLG, I mentioned this to you before we even got into the pregame and everything with the guys on the desk. Was, in terms of young cores in North America, I think Ethan and Kusa together. Should be no surprise at this point, but Ethan and Kusa together, I think they're one of the more promising younger duos that we have coming up from the region.
Well, and also, there has to be said, the duo on train yesterday of Cutler and Ethan actually looked really, really good. It was like a nice little crossfire when it came down to that B side. They were actually winning it quite a lot of the time, and there was points in that match where it actually looked like they could have brought it forward. Obviously, they did lose 6 in a row on the T side, but they still finished the half 9-6 up. It was really their T side that let them down.
Yeah, it's so hard against a team like Astralis, right? That's why this match is like, okay, breathe a little bit now. You got through the nightmare. Time to recover here against 5POWER team. I mean, as I also mentioned, you might not know. We could tell from the desk segments that we just don't know a lot about this team. So CLG obviously letting Cobble through, which is what this team beat Tai Lu on. So a little bit of an oversight there, but still, you've got to give the favor. You've got to give the advantage to CLG in this matchup. Talk all we want about the young skill. But
already
FNS's resurgence has been great.
Already Cutler is boosted up, just going to go for this aggression early on, waiting for the further push, and he finds the first, looking for the second as well, but fades away, takes that man advantage, and just falls back with it. And more further aggression, looking very confident at the moment on CLG, just pushing out, spotted out. It will be Kukwa already taking this long-range battle and actually winning it at the moment, but in the meantime, his teammates are just being lost. That is the bomb at the moment, just left in no man's land. And while it doesn't matter if not 7 wins his duels, the fact is this bomb is still just stuck in the middle of nowhere. This is a ridiculous duel, but Kukwa will eventually take it and just have to try and challenge back versus 3.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how ugly that duel looked. Ricky just occupies that one player for so very long into this round. Nice opening kill by Cutler, and he just falls back, not willing to give up the man advantage. So a 1-on-3, and Kuka only has 24 HP. So this is going to be a little bit difficult for him, and the range of these USPs is going to be a nightmare. Ethan just pinning him in, waiting for the teammates to come. There is some time on the clock, but shot's not landing, actually. Oh, he wins that one, but there's Cutler. Finally comes in to clean it up. The Rock, the stable player for CLG, or as he used to be. I mean, he was kind of known as one of the players on this team, or the player on this team that was the most consistent. Wasn't going to have the massive star performances, but you could always rely on Cutler to get his 15 to 20. Had a down year last year, and that's why I think coming back in FNS, the reason why I said this team has been looking better under his leadership is because all of a sudden Cutler's looking good again. He's looking back to form. So something that FNS just knows where to position Cutler and how to play with him.
Yeah, it's going to be important as well with the sort of 2 youngsters in the team to have that stability for sure. So definitely looking to see if that can continue in this matchup. It will be a bit of investment, the majority of the players, in fact, fully investing, but it will be Kukwa actually just going for a bit of utility, trying to help out the rest of the team in the round.
He's the AWPer as well, so you can see not upgrading the pistol, keeping as much money in the bank as possible, so coming into the 4th round, he might be able to pick up that weapon. Good utility usage by CLG holding him at bay, and I mean, not 7 is the only one that's really even aggressive, and actually there's a gap in that smoke. Finesse doesn't realize it, and he gets punished. Over aggression, and now comes the hit onto the B bomb site.
First kill going the way of the T's. They're still taking this relatively patiently. A lot of damage done by that nade, and the bomb still just lurking around over towards that A side, but they're going to take drop control and just pounce out. It's going to be Cutler trying to do the damage. Finds the first at least. Looking for the second as well, but runs out of ammo. Going to be closed down, but actually just fades away. Still alive somehow. Eventually, Shuadapai will be able to close him down, and now it's on to just 1, not 7, the man who started it all. And that nade, was he going to throw it out? Could just be enough to finish him off, down to 25 HP. Still has the Tech 9, and actually a couple of low players on the other side. There is still potential for him to do some damage, but Kusta, he's not going to go for any sort of peek. He's just going to wait, hide, make sure there's no extra challenge, and just hold in this sort of crossfire. But, well, okay, peeks out, loses his life, another kill on the board. There's only 20 seconds, though, and I feel like he just realized that. Not 7 going to have to duck back around towards this A site and attempt to get onto the site itself, get that bomb plant, and at least make some money, and they're going to allow him to do that.
Yeah, this is CLG playing scared at the moment, allowing him to get into the site. A free plant, that's huge for 5POWER. This is a very good round. They've done good damage. They're going to force some rebuys. He's got a chance here. This flashbang, it better be perfect. He's low on HP, can't make any mistakes. There's a world in which they line up for him, and he's able to drop Ethan with a headshot on Ricky soon after. But either way, CLG going to get the defuse. They even salvaged the M4. Good stuff, but I mean, good damage dealt by 5POWER in that round. It's interesting watching them. I mean, after that kill on Finesse, it looked like that B hit was going to come in. The smokes came out, some flashbangs as well. They used a lot of utility over towards B and just cut up towards A instead, and that almost caught CLG off guard. So 2-0, this should be a round in which there's not any real investment for the Chinese team. Maybe some utility to try and get into a bomb site, to try and get another plant down.
Yeah, it would be sort of a very risky scenario to reinvest. And like, as you said, a little bit of Kevlar, a couple of nades. They're going to try and do the same again. And of course, in this scenario, it will be a lot more costly if they're able to get any such success as the last. It's rifles mainly on the board for the CT side, only Kusta sticking with that SMG. And, well, if they lose even a couple here, this could be perfect going into the buy round.
This is interesting. I mean, this is actually a pretty decent investment for just buying up in that last round with full armor, upgraded pistols, and nades. I mean, they got Deagle on the board. They've got armor and pistols. They've got some utility as well. So putting some money into this round, perhaps those 3 kills kind of prompted them forward to say, let's get it more. Let's do some more economic damage, see what can happen. Cutler's already been dinked a little bit. He's down to 28 HP. They're going to pressure this A bomb site heavily. Goose is going to have a big job to do with his UMP, playing at the APC, but not sure where he wants to go quite yet. Spam coming through the smoke makes him feel uncomfortable. The bomb is going down, but it can't get finished. Goose is going to pick off one more, and it should be all easy now for CLG. A moment of danger, but nothing after that.
Yeah, quite surprising considering all the positions held at that moment from the T's that they don't actually take anybody down.
It seemed like the entire plan of 5POWER there was just to get that bomb planted, and they didn't even try and take over the site, right? They're trying to do it on the side that faces out towards the halls, faces out towards that mid-ramp so they can have vision of it also. There's just not enough cover to allow that bomb to go down. Good round from CLG. And now, I mean, now it remains to be seen because they invested so much into that third round even. No AWP. They've got plenty of nades. They've got armor and AK, so it's still very strong buy. With that plant going down, I mean, you could see, is this, why, his name's Forrest. I'm assuming that's Forget.
Maybe just a big fan.
Yeah, why not? Maybe he's using the config, using the Forest config. He just downloaded it. He's like, let's try this one out. Let's try the Forest config.
Well, it hasn't been working too well so far. They are in that sort of loser match scenario, but still got to see them later today. Now, aggressing over towards halls, but they are going to be denied by the smoke. Cutler still has to be careful.
He's going to feel pretty safe with that smoke up for the moment. Any kind of indication of a pop flash through as well. That Molotov might actually force Shootapai into his crosshairs, but it's not. He backs away before it burns too much. If Cutler peeks this, he's not going to be ready for that player to the right. No, that's an easy... No, it's not!
No, it's not!
He misses. How's that happened? Oh, Cutler gets away with one, and now they've just got to fight their way back, and it's going to be Kusta with 2 with the UMP. Molotov to protect himself again. Big, big mistake from Kuka.
I don't even know how he managed to do that, but it's now down to his teammate. Shwadapai just left to try and challenge versus, what, 4 players? They picked up a couple of AKs as well, upgrading away from the FAMAS and the SMG that was already in play, and they have full control of the bomb. There should be no way of him getting back into this round.
How's that happen? Everything was set up perfectly to have a nice, easy kill onto Cutler and just a few missed shots. That's a big mistake in an important round for 5POWER. So he's going to try and save this gun here, but next round, this is basically all they're going to have to use.
It'll be interesting to see if they actually invest with him, because obviously he's bought down.
Right.
So he will not have anything going into the round after unless they get the bomb plant, and it will be max loss bonus, so it may not be worth fully investing anything.
The tough part is if you spend the first 5 rounds kind of like, you know, having these kind of half buys, investing decent amount, and you're not having the success with it, you've really kind of tanked your buy sequences and your economy in order to try and go for some of these risks. So you don't actually get going in terms of solid buys until like round 6, and then, you know, you've given your team a massive advantage. The other big thing you have to consider as well, Kusta in this round with 2 UMP kills. Not only, I mean, there's a bonus one, it could be nice, especially on the Opper. He just upgrades to a free AK-47 and passes that over. So, I mean, he's got plenty of money, and there is that investment. UMP on Not 7, Tech 9s and Deagles on the other 3, and there's the AK and Shwadapai working their way, all 5 towards this B bomb site. Map control be damned.
Yeah, but there isn't any aggression at the moment coming out from the CTs, so they're just going to sit back. The execute will come in, the wall of smoke's attempted, and well, already they're losing all their players. They haven't managed to isolate the 2 players towards the site. There's still one in Chicken Coop, and again, it's going to be a miss spray. Finesse able to find that frag, leaving just the pistols left. Ethan with one more, and Stevie is shut down as well. A perfect round from CLG. All survive, and well, nearly all of them have AKs now.
Yeah, another round of investment from 5POWER and no kills come out. So I mean, just you're not really damaging your opponents whatsoever. This defense from CLG holding strong against the attacks of 5POWER. Yeah, there's plenty of money in the bank. I mean, some of the free upgrades in the previous round, 5 people surviving there. The op hasn't even been brought out yet.
Yeah, investment once again. Not 7 pushed down to a Galil, and utility again will be limited for this T side. Looking like they're going to try and pick up the pace over towards the A site early on. Now, they should have had that sort of advantage previously when they challenged. The CTs are not really in the same positions, so they will be able to take over the long haul's control.
This time, no Cutler there. He had to throw a wrench in all the plans. A little bit more passive. Kusta's going to be back in the site. Cutler playing over at the fence. Stables. Pretty quickly, pretty quietly. Here's the thing. If there's any indication, there's a pop flash on Kusta, but it's not being used yet. And there it is. He spots it over the top. He gets 1 kill. Cutler's going to wrap around, but Forrest shows up out of nowhere to end it.
Ricky just trying to hold the cross as they actually going to go pushing through right next to him. Yuka just waiting, and he hasn't actually gone all the way through, but he is just on the edge of that smoke at the moment. Could be the thorn in their side as they try and rotate back in. He's got to time it perfectly. However, it doesn't seem to matter as all of these remaining players go down. Now he pounces, finishes off the round, and finally they're on the board.
Yeah, that's some of those plays like that kind of like just jump into that smoke while the spam is going down. That's something that we don't see, in the European and even in the NA pro scene very much. So those are the kind of plays that can catch CLG off guard. If those are going to be made, that's one of the things that's very frustrating because you're not used to playing against that kind of a decision making. Heavy risk, and I mean it was even a little bit of a weaker buy. There were two to three players without utility in that previous round, and 5POWER still managed to bring it out. But now they've got to string it together, and now things get a little bit deadlier with all that money that's been built up. CLG happily switching into a double op setup right off the bat. Ricky with an AWP, Kusta with one of his own as well. Fast play towards the B bomb site.
Yeah, these are the sort of things that can catch these buys off guard. However, it will be Ricky with 1, but that's all. Finesse trades things back to a 3 versus 3 and actually doing the work himself. Gets 2 kills. It's still going to be Kusta trying to retake with the AWP, and the bomb will at least be going down. Now, we know there's economic trouble for 5POWER. They've only won 1 round, and with only 2 players left already, they've got to try and at least convert this one. Otherwise, they're going to be in big trouble. Shooter by aggressive, pushes out, but only gets 1. It's Finesse yet again. 3rd kill for himself this round, and not 7. He's now versus 2. Already the flank has come in. Cutler pushing from behind, but not 7 wins another duel, looking for this final player of Cutler, who just gives away his position. In fact, both players do. The Molotov's doing the work, and Cutler will finish just about winning that duel. And well, now we have to look towards that economy game.
Yeah, now we're seeing some success out of 5POWER. The plant's going to help out. They get 4 kills and even a double op setup. So they lose one of those AWPs, and you can see that's the power against the op. Awkward to retake as well, but also that fast tactic. Ricky can only get 1 kill before he's overran. Those fast rushes, I mean, you saw the first 2 players from 5POWER just drop off the broken wall and head up the sidewalk right towards drop zone, and Ricky just can't do anything. Ethan's blind for just, 2 seconds, but that's all it takes. But back on the pistols for 5POWER, so some of the pressure perhaps alleviating for CLG to try and get back on track.
Yeah, well, huge props have to go. Finesse once again. Kusta looking for that AWP challenge early on, but he's going to be forced back by the pistols, and they'll know what they're up against now. That's the thing. They already know that there's not going to be a huge amount on the other side of things, so they can just fall back into these more passive positions. Ricky already set up on the plat. We'll
Good
just
Molotov.
be waiting.
Good Molotov. Yeah, the thing as well is both the ops, obviously, they know Kusta has one over towards A. Ricky's going to be spotted here with the AWP. So at least in this round, what 5POWER is gaining is the knowledge that they're still going up against double ops. Trying to swarm over. Nice flick from Ricky, but it's all pretty standard defense. He does eventually fall, but that gun can be salvaged as long as there's not too many losses sustained by CLG moving forward.
1 man left in the form of Stevie. Does manage to hit the dink, but that is going to be the round done and dusted. And, well, the AWP is going to be... Actually,
I don't think they got it.
They don't think they got it, unless Kusta already had one, so yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like Kusta was the first one to get to Ricky's op, and he's like, well, can't make it with it.
I can pick up a different op, that's about it.
So, no plant again, not really any damage to talk about onto CLG from that round. But they have shown, I mean, rebuying the double op immediately, I mean, they want to use that setup. And again, another round 5-power. They have 5 AKs with pretty light on nades. Chwatapai, the only one with a full set of utility.
He's had to drop the head armor just to get it, so he'll be a little bit more vulnerable, especially versus that UMP and the M4s, in fact. Now, they don't actually pick up the AWP this time. After losing it in the previous round, they've just decided, okay, it's not worth reinvesting that much money for, well, something that hasn't been too effective as of yet, especially with the fast play that came in previously.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It hasn't been like that shutdown. They're not getting those kills that just kind of completely break down any attack that's coming. There's Kusta with 1 kill. There's a good start, opening pick for the AWP. And where does 5-power go from here? 4 on 5, spread out across the map. Looks like they want to reconvene. They're leaving not 7 and drop to do a little bit of a lurk play. 3 players going to be pressuring this A bomb site. Again, right at the AWP of Kusta. Still in a good position to have range. Cutler's going to be down on the ground close up. That can be a very dangerous bait and switch.
They're going to be holding over towards long, still taking their time, not really taking much control. Cutler goes for the peak, obviously with that UMP up close. And he's just going to be waiting for them to push back in. Wins the first duel, traded out, but that's absolutely fine. And now he leaves it onto Kusta. They're going to come pushing out. He's left blinded and has to fall away. Actually going to go with the pistol and still wins the duel, taking off that no head armor player. A little bit of luck going his way, but still loses his life eventually. Not 7. The only player left, and he has a flank coming in. That should be it done, and Finesse will finish the round. Another on the board, 8-1 up for CLG.
That's the important thing to note. You pointed out right at the beginning. The only reason he has full utility is because he didn't get head armor, and that's the USP at range from Kusta, getting a little bit fortunate. Just
so
by
lucky.
just by blind luck, it happens to be the player with no head armor. He was actually, I mean, that's around Kusta was actually caught out in a really, really bad spot. You know, right at that APC. Yeah, you can have a bait and switch with Cutler, but if you go to give your attention to mid, you're completely exposed over towards hulls. There are a couple times he could have fallen there. 8-1, back on a pistols for 5-power. This next buy round for 5-power has got to be so effective, and not only that, but they've got to string 2 to 3 together if they want to get into this half. And the hard part about doing that if you're 5-power is you've been investing in all these rounds, even when you don't have a solid buy. You know, an AK, a UMP, rounds without very much utility, so you're not giving yourself a great chance.
Yeah, just sort of waiting at the moment. They've gone for a few aggressive peaks over towards that B site, but the utility usage of the CTs have just denied most of the pushes available already. Finesse set up in the corner once again, and with no Molotovs, nothing to force him out, they're just going to have to pretty much peek straight in, which will leave them open to Ethan on the statue and make things very, very difficult overall. And the fact is, they may not even check it. Finesse is just sat in that corner, just waiting for their push to come in. The timing is just going to come down to perfection for him. Nobody watching that angle. Bomb dropped on the plat. Going to get the second as well. And this is just easy clean-up frags for Finesse. Last man standing, Cuco with the dig. It's just going to be holding, maybe able to get one, but even then, it's another kill for the USP of Kusta.
Finesse having a couple very, very good rounds. You think that round that came under the 1-on-1 clutch with Cutler, he gets 3 in that, 3 just now there. Making some plays over on that B defense. But this is the round. This is the one where 5-power really has to get started, and they have to do it now if they want a chance in this half. CLG, a dominant defense so far against the Chinese squad. Even with the double op setup that hasn't, to be fair, been effective. I mean, the 1-op is doing fine, but that double op is actually, I mean, didn't do as much damage for the investment.
Had quite a few clean rounds. Kusta feeling pretty confident, just going to be forcing them back, but actually Ricky will be the one to go down. That was a boost into drop that doesn't pay off, so finally a man advantage going the way of the Chinese. Still looking confident on the CT side, however, still holding aggressive angles, at least over towards that A site. But let's see if they can actually bring something back here and do something in this round. They've got the tools needed, they've got all that utility, and they're also set up to do it with the man advantage.
They have to capitalize on this. Not only the man advantage, but look at the defenses. I mean, they're pretty split. 2 players were in A long for some time, and they're still not rotating. Now it's going to have to happen. Ethan throws out the Molotov. That's going to be a good delay. Buy time for the rotations to come in. Beating the way out of drop, and now actually Cutler is here. Kusta is still sticking around at that A bomb site, but the hit's coming in.
Ethan's going to be the first man of contact, just waiting the edge of the smoke. There's so many players there, but he actually loses his life to drop. Now Finesse is just completely isolated, and Forget has done the work. Cutler falls as well, and Kusta just going to save this AWP. No point trying the challenge versus 5, just not worth the duel. And finally, 5POWER will be back on the board after a long hiatus.
Yeah, this is a perfect round for 5POWER if you're looking to get back into this game. It's going to be 2-9, but they have all 5 players alive right now. Kusta may be able to pick off one. He is. It's easy. They know where he is now, and you almost want to say, yeah, it'd be super valuable to get that op out of his hands. How much are you going to risk to do it, though? If he gets two more kills in this round, and all of a sudden they don't build up any money off of it, it's going to be very difficult to string rounds together, sustain losses in the future, and actually come back in this half. So it's time for 5POWER to calculate how much of a risk they want to take, and it's not much. They don't really commit a whole lot. Willing to sacrifice Forget, and that's about it. 2-9, and 5POWER needs to string them together.
Yeah, the other thing with that as well is, although the save is useful for Kusta, they still have a ridiculous amount of money over on that CT side.
Yeah.
Not going to have any problems buying back up anyway. So they take that up and lose 2 players. It's a loss in the end.
I think they have enough money to really sustain. Actually, this is what, before the buy, I think still, so maybe not. But I mean, they have pretty decent money going into the later stages of this half. The big thing is actually even Kusta over towards the A-bomb, so that op hasn't really put to great use. And I was wondering if they were going to switch things up, and they are. They're putting the op over at the B platform. Ricky used it earlier, but Kusta to perhaps better effect. Opening pick onto Kuka. Now it's Cutler again, and Hall's just delaying as long as possible. Ricky's here with him.
Yeah, this time man disadvantage. We'll see if they can actually come back in one of these rounds. They haven't been able to do too much thus far. Haven't really seen any star performances coming out from the 5POWER side. They are just, again, just playing passively, hoping for further aggression, but CLG have no reason to do that whatsoever. Just, in fact, going to fall all the way back towards the site and just play with that man advantage.
Not feeling any pressure over at B. Leave the op as the anchor at Statue. 3 players stacking up at A. Ricky aggressive towards Halls. They're going to have Finesse back in the site, and this hit coming in. Utility is used, and Ricky's going to be the point of contact. They clear it, but it's a half-assed clear, and Ricky gets a double kill. That's big, and it's just down to Stevie, and I mean, there's no chance here. 5POWER, you wanted to see him string it together, but it's not going to happen, and I think they're just going to have to buy from here on out.
Yeah, but they're being absolutely dominated at this point, and well, what would you even say is the minimum amount of rounds that you can get away with on that T side?
Yeah, I mean, it's right at about 5, right? Or 4 maybe sometimes you get away with if you have like a very good, defense on it, but this is a tough situation for 5POWER to be in. So, I mean, they'd have the right idea. You could see there he's actually looking directly for this position, but, just the fundamental, the discipline to actually clear it all the way. Trying to cut corners, and it's not going to work out. Pretty good spread of kills on the CLG side of things. 2 players 12, 2 10, and then I think there was one at, was it 6, 8?
I think it was 9. I think it was literally 12 to 9. I think there was really no beneficiary, I suppose. They're just spreading the kills evenly at this moment in time, and well, like you said, probably buying till the end of the half is going to be further investment from 5POWER. Tech9 left onto Stevie, a Galil in play as well, and once more something that we haven't really seen too much, even just usage of utility. I think they've had 1 setup. I
mean, this is what I mentioned. I talked about it around 4. If you're going to invest, like, second round they have the full force buy. Third round they buy some upgraded pistols and some armor. And then if this isn't doing damage, if you're not winning these rounds, if you're not coming close and getting plants, it just kind of wrecks your economy for this whole half. And it really does feel like outside of maybe 2 rounds so far out of the 12 we've played, have been like the solid buys for the 5POWER team.
Well, they had that one wall of smoke that we saw, but the problem is I think CLG was so confident they just ran straight through it, which is not something you would normally see. A lot of teams in that scenario may go for more of a retake, but we are going to see back towards B once again. Now, they've already lost the player over towards drop, isolated by a Molotov, but it doesn't matter. Not 7, just stepping up, gets himself 2. A little bit of help from Kuka to get him another, but Ricky spraying away, brings back a couple. It's all on Kusta. He's going to go running through the smoke, and it's not happening this time. 3rd round for 5POWER. The force buy works.
CLG really hasn't had a great answer. That's 2 rounds now that 5POWER has won on that B bomb site from just dropping at a broken wall and having the first 2 players just turn right, head towards drop, clear out the rock. And this is some of the good things that we see from Asian teams is you get these players in open spaces and they're going to hit some shots. But I mean, that's a dicey position from Finesse. As you can see, just one flashbang and he's blind for the full amount. Can't really do anything from there, and then it's just an awkward angle to fight. So 10-3. Power do claw one more back on the board. Will it be enough? It's going to be a fast play towards the B bomb site. Looks like a rush. Counter nades from the CLG side are going to slow things down, and actually I think it just stops that idea in its tracks.
They're actually going to throw out further utility, though. Molotovs used to try and clear some of these angles, and it looks sort of like they had this idea, and now that it's been slowed down, they may just get a little bit stuck in their tracks. I think a lot of teams do have this problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing as well. We talk about map control all the time, right? Since they sent 5 people towards B, they have no control over towards A. So if they want to go back, you can do it. It's not impossible. It's just you have to spend a lot of time clearing. You have to be very cautious about anyone being pushed up. And you've already used some utility, and yeah, they're just going to re-execute on the B bomb site.
Yeah, they've thrown absolutely everything in towards this B site, so now they're just going to push out, and it seems like the CLG side are ready for this. Ethan just holding in the cubby, waiting for further pushes. The drop-down player is gone once again, and they all line up for Ethan. Absolute destruction. 3 kills done and dusted. Last man down, and an easy round from the cubby.
Yeah, I mean, this is also the thing. When they go for that rush, they use so much utility to start with. I mean, not only are they light on smokes to block off positions, but they used a lot of Molotovs as well. So, I mean, even if they wanted to clear out that cubby, they've really no utility to do it. You can see everyone that's dying here is clean out of nades before they fall. It's an easy round off the back of Ethan. Good defense from CLG, and I think that should about seal a very, very solid half for them.
One more round to go, and it is going to be one of those sketchy buys once again. A couple of Deegs, a couple of UMPs, and an AK, and minimal utility. 1 HE and a Molotov, in fact. So not even a smoke, but it works out for Kuka. Gets that first kill on Takusta. That AWP is out of the round. They've actually sent 4 players early on over towards that A site, so this leaves just 1, Ethan. They relied on him in the last round, but to do everything alone, this could be a little bit worrying for their side at the moment. He's just going to hold over towards Chicken. They're already out on the site, just looking to clear these angles. Now, everything else has been cleared. They have not checked Chicken Coop whatsoever, and eventually he will be spotted out. Ricky already back into the site, though, picks up a double for himself, and, well, not quite there for Ethan this time, but is still back into this 3 versus 3. Forget, looking for more with the Deagle, spamming away, can't quite connect onto anything, but Schwarzenegger is able to do more. Back to 2 versus 2, and, well, spamming away with this D. Can he finally finish it? No, he can't. Finesse gets it to the 12-3 marker. A dominating half for CLG.
Yeah, that was very good stuff. It seemed like this match could have been dangerous. In fact, Sadicus was crazy enough to pick 5POWER to beat them. Going a little bit too ham on day 2 of the tournament for Sadicus, but I mean, that is just a solid performance out of the CLG side. 5POWER never really could get the economy going, never really could string rounds together. They're going to have a stellar defense of their own against a lot of these skilled younger players from CLG, so we'll see if they have it in them when we return from the break. Desperate situation for 5POWER, an extremely rough first half. Even with the Forest Doppelganger stepping in, they still can't manage to get a decent amount of rounds on the board. 12-3 was the scoreline. It's got to be some kind of a monstrous CT half from the Chinese if they want any chance to come back.
Straight in with the pistol, and already, well, it's not looking good. Kuka is down in mid. Only one man to try and stop them, not seven, and they're not even throwing any rotations. It's the straight push in from CLG. Smoke already going to go down. He's left isolated out of the site, and that's the site down already. There's nobody else. They have to try and retake this as a team. They don't have a kit to play with either, so the bomb will be comfortably going down. Luckily, they'll be able to trade one back, but Cutler's still here, trying to deny any further pushes, but the CZ does its work, gets it back a little bit further, but will eventually clean up from Finesse, and that will be the round finished.
Yeah, so quick. Once that first kill goes down, there's only that one remaining defender at those double doors, and once that smoke gets deployed, he's used all his ammunition, you know, just trying to get a pick at long range, and when that doesn't work, he has nowhere to go, but he has to fall back and reload. So no defense in the site, and CLG run it over. Looks like they're in the mood for a quick finish, 13-3 with that pistol round one. As long as they convert these, it really should be no issue. 5POWER, I mean, like we saw in the first half, just gonna be force buying.
Yeah, it seems like the story of their game at the moment. Just force buy after force buy, trying to get themselves back in, trying to recover from the problems they had previously, and it's just not happening at all at the moment. Passive round coming out from this T side, still able to take quite a bit of map control, but not going for any over-aggressive peaks. They know there's going to be a force buy on the other side. There'd have to be some level of madness to try and save here and just win it out on your buy rounds.
Control of the A halls goes to CLG. I mean, smart from them. They're basically approaching this like it's a gun round. Like this would be a full buy out of them. Oh, nice shot. QQ with the deagle drops Ethan, trying to spring out unexpectedly. Molotov's utility used. They're going to attack this A bomb site. Not seven, just hiding in the site, trying to get some information. He commits to that fight though a little bit too much, a little bit desperate with that CZ. There's the deagle again. The doppelganger is out. He's at APC right around the smoke, but he can't find anything. Now he's going to make his move. Actually, not quite yet. There's the jump up. Now they know.
Spotted again. Just nothing going the way of the CT side at the moment other than that first pick. They do actually have an AK in hand, though, so makes things at least a little bit more interesting. Rookie going to be holding, and the peek comes out. Kuka gets another, but they've got to move quickly if they want to challenge this round because they do not have a kit to play with. Kusta with one, but he's now down to low HP, and Kuka is expecting some sort of peek back, but Kusta's just happy to waste his time, bait him out, hope that he peeks, and while Finesse is just given a freebie once more. Kuka doing the damage still, at least making things costly, but costly isn't really going to do too much. The bomb is just ticking away at the moment. They're baiting out that time. Kusta with a long rotation back, and Cutler will finish.
Couple nice shots almost gave him a chance here. And I mean, this is much like what we saw from Na'Vi yesterday. This is what Duncan mentioned this morning, talked about on the desk last night. At a certain point when Na'Vi was up so much, it's not that they were like playing silly, but like taking peeks they normally wouldn't, taking fights they normally wouldn't. You're seeing some of that out of CLG here as well at times. 14-3. Just a matter of time now, and 5POWER. I mean, even in this round, they're just saying if we want any chance, right? We need to get rifles in our hands to be able to fight this off.
Yeah, and the other thing is, at least against Na'Vi, they managed to get themselves a pistol, have some economic presence on the map. In this one, they just haven't been able to do anything, and well, you can just see CLG at the moment going for sheer aggression, expecting there not to be too much, but they have actually got 3 AKs just in case it was a full force buy in from the 5POWER side.
The nice thing they did last round with the AK-47s was it was mostly the SMGs that took over the bomb site, and you saw like Kusta with one AK-47 was far at the bottom of ramp, trying to use the range a little bit, and they have that option here. And the only thing that 5POWER really had in this round, they had 2 HE grenades, but I mean, where are you going to use them when it's a fast A rush and they already have the site? So looking for some exits. I don't think CLG is going to chase, and as I say that, Kusta is just going to do a drive-by with the MAC-10.
Yeah, making himself some extra money. Not that they particularly needed at this point. Kuka with the dig, managed to do some damage in the previous round at least, and will make himself an extra $300, at least trying to finance that deagle, but will lose his life and, well, do have Forget just running around the back of the map, doesn't want to hand away his life, so just decides to fade away.
Would have been nice to have an AK-47. That's just hoping for one solo player to be trying to exit by that fountain, maybe not paying attention. Either way, 15-3 now. North America on the board. That's what I'm talking about. It's the beginning of the end.
I imagine you would have sort of hoped that they would have done that in their first match.
This is cool. I like this picture. Yeah, that would have been nice as well.
They just managed to do this to Astralis, so it would have been impressive. Not quite to be. They will actually get an AWP onto the CT side. Not something we've seen from them, I think, at all the whole game. Mainly due to economy.
Money, did they? Yeah.
But, oh, this is just cruel, Ethan. Straight through the edge of the smoke. That AWP lasts a matter of seconds, and it's already gone. Maybe able to be picked up by another member of the team. But again, man advantage over to CLG.
I'm actually glad you brought that up. I mean, I know, Cuca's a guy that I've been told is a pretty decent AWPer, where he's, it would have been cool to see him have some opportunities, but I mean, in reality, that's a product of their own kind of tactics of how much they bought in the first half. So really the only round we see that AWP in his hands was just now. And in jumping onto a box, not a whole lot of utility, no protection either, and Ethan takes advantage of it. Now here goes the A bomb site. It's getting cracked open with ease. Ricky with a headshot. Down to 14 HP, but I think this is all she wrote unless Schwadapai can do something incredible.
Yeah, his teammates are falling left, right, and center. It's onto one. Elise dropping the bomb, but he has the challenge versus everybody, and this will be an absolute whitewash. 16-3, dominating from CLG. Moses is a happy man.
Very happy. I'm going to celebrate somehow. Yeah, CLG gets a win. Good to see him get on the board. 1-1 now. I mean, more than anything, really, it's just kind of like, this is one of those matches where it's like, listen, you should win this. Just go in, get the work done. Just put, head in the office.
Maybe a little bit of confidence booster.
Early in the day, you can go relax. You could start, watching some of the matches, look at who you're going to could be playing against in the next matchups, and kind of figure it out from there. You have a lot of time to just kind of chill. But either way, I mean, it is good to see someone not only winning, but winning emphatically, not letting it get close at all, never really being in danger. And especially, going into the second half, how many times do we see a team, maybe just, with that kind of a lead, just kind of let their focus slip just a tiny bit. Pissed around goes the way of the opponents, and all of a sudden we've got a game in our hands. And they never let that happen, so that's nice.
Yeah, well, they look confident all the way through, and it has to be said. Like, even with some of the buys they were going later on, they weren't taking any ludicrous risks. They were just going, okay, we'll keep the rifles, we'll have the SMG just roaming around to actually just find out the information. But they didn't go for anything mad, like keeping all the like we saw from Gambit actually with the 4 SMGs. They just played it safe. They played it smart. Yeah.
So I mean, just clinical. And I'm trying to think. I mean, there was no real crazy individual performance. We mentioned at halftime the scores are all reasonably close. I don't think anyone could have skyrocketed their score from there. But either way, we'll now get to hear what all the big North American fans on the analyst desk think about that matchup.